Okay, so you were just telling me about one of the signs that you had. Can I get a shot of that here?
Yeah.
Now, can you tell me about this?
Well, I'm going to tell you something very quick. In Venezuela, we are under a dictatorship. Our students are being murdered. Our innocent people are being murdered. Miss Universe, Miss Venezuela got murdered. Miss Tourism got murdered. We got murders. We got people fighting. The students are fighting. When the students are fighting, it's a clear situation of tyranny. Because when there's tyranny, it's because the students go out on the streets and they're the one who fights. Nobody's doing anything. The United States is not doing anything. The United Nations are not doing anything. If you're not going to be part of a solution, then you're part of the problem, because you are making us fight harder and harder. So you need to do something, because if you don't help us, then you're helping him. You're helping the dictator, the murderous dictator. So United States, United Nations, or world presidents, do something about it, because it's shame on you that you're not doing anything at this point. Shame on you. You are cooperating with the murder of innocent people, students, old people, young people, everybody. No toilet paper, no food, nothing, no water, nothing. Only the government has the money. They are millionaires and our people are poor, and we have education, and we want to be better people when we can if you don't help us.
So, because of what's happening in Venezuela, we're limited here in America as far as what news that we get, what's available to us.
Definitely.
How is it that you're staying in touch with your family back home?
Well, one of the most common ways that we talk is through Skype, since that's not, I guess it's still not blocked.
Okay.
So far, Twitter, it's blocked for some people, or most people. They cannot see the images or anything like that. They actually turn their internet slower so people cannot communicate or go online to Facebook or anything like that. We speak on the phone. I call them also through Skype to their telephone numbers there. But apparently, well, my brother is one of the persons that is working with the government, but he's from the opposition. He cannot say anything about it. He cannot talk to me much about it. He cannot talk on the phone. We only speak through Skype because they monitor everything.
So he works with the government, but he's not a supporter of what's happening as far as what Maduro is doing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I have some questions I'd like to ask about that, but I don't want to delve too much into.
No, I'm
okay. Well, if your brother works for the government, is he or anybody that you know of trying to get information from inside the government to feed it to people over here?
Well, I can tell you, he usually sends me all the information that he has, as much as he can, but he doesn't have much access in terms of political stuff. He's more like, he's in the International Commerce Bank there of Venezuela, so he's more in the monetary side.
Okay. Since Maduro has taken over, has there been a change for the better or the worse as far as living conditions for people still in Venezuela?
Well, I can tell you something. I came to the U.S. 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. Every year I went to visit, and every time it was worse. The last time I went to visit was in April 2013, and I went right before the election, so because I knew if he took over the elections, something bad was going to happen. I didn't know when was the last time that I was going to see my family. So I can tell you, and my husband can tell you too, that in this last year, it was nothing compared to what we have seen before. Before, every year, it turned like a little bit worse, but this year it went down like crazy. We don't find food, we don't find toilet paper, people don't find eggs, butter, milk for their babies, nothing. And then the government says that it's because people are eating too much, or because people from Colombia are buying it in Venezuela and taking it back there, and things that do not make any sense. Because if you have a high demand, then you bring the product as the demand stands for. So,
is the violence that we're aware of here in America localized to Caracas, or is it nationwide?
It is nationwide, but it's worse in Caracas. I can tell you, my brother is in Caracas, and I pray every night, every day, for him to come back home safe. It's scary. Life doesn't seem to have any value there. If they want to maybe get something from you and you don't have anything, then they kill you because you don't have anything to rob. And same with my family in Anzoátegui, that's from the state that we're from. And it is less, but it's still dangerous. I mean, it's really to take care of. It's something that the government should be taking care of right now, when suddenly so many policemen and military are out working against the protesters, but they didn't do it against the violent people that kill every day. And all those students that have been killed and wounded, they don't get anything from it because the government doesn't do anything. They don't care. They were just talking about yesterday, the president Maduro, he was saying to their own, what they call employees, they were saying that they were going to take them on a vacation to Margarita for carnivals. And I'm like, don't you realize that we are in such a difficult moment for you to be talking about this? So they're just saying that we are crazy pretty much, and we're lying about everything. We're lying about being scared about going out and stuff like that. I mean, I'm really sorry for my family that is there, and I wish they were in a different place, but they have to work for our country to be back to what it was. And someone has to do it. I'm trying to help from here. I'm the only one out, and they're trying to help and freedom come back to our
So, both of you are from America, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the protest here is against the Maduro government and what violence is happening down there. But as far as the limited amount of information that we can get, what is the perception that you have of what's happening down there?
The perception I have of what's going on down there is that there are mostly students who are peacefully protesting, and the government is either shutting down the protest with violence or more likely allowing groups that support the government to violently put down these protests without any police interference.
Now,
they're tacitly approving of violence against peaceful protesters.
since the government is cracking down on protesters, we're not necessarily used to that kind of image down here in America. But it seems as though it's something that Venezuelans are having to get used to. And talking with one person just now, I understand that conditions have actually gotten worse under Maduro than with Chavez. So given that, how do you think that the students are going to be able to overcome a government which is very much strong-arming them to the point to where they are, like you had said, killing individuals?
I don't know that the students themselves will be able to. I think it will take support of the international community. Even when the coup that overthrew Chavez years ago took place, the anti-Chavez groups had the support of the military, and they still weren't able to permanently secure any sort of peace. Now, the government still has the support of the military. The military has tremendous power, and this government has some popular support. It's going to take international support to bring about the end of this repressive government.
But along with that, and I have to play devil's advocate here, along with that, with the international community, we see a lot more countries actually not wanting to abide by austerity, which, from what I understand, talking with people here, that seems to be one of the conditions in Venezuela right now, is that their market system is really afoul, so much so that people have run out of toilet paper down there. So if, let's say, compared to North Korea, where the military is well fed and people in the street are starving, that's not where Venezuela is yet. Do you think that there is a desire in the international community to help the students find, if at the very least, an ability to come to the table and talk with the Venezuelan government to try to work out some kind of peaceful accord, as opposed to what we're seeing now?
I don't see that support. I don't see that support at all from the international community. I think the fact is that Venezuela has something that North Korea doesn't have, and that's tremendous oil wealth. And there's until there's a position where it's not economically favorable to look the other way, I think governments are going to continue to look the other way.
Venezuela! Freedom! Venezuela! Freedom! Venezuela! Freedom!
So here in America, we're finding out, just bits and pieces of information. What is it that you're learning from your families back home?
I mean, it's been going on for a while. My mom's best friend is from there, and there's just like, ¿cómo se dice escasez? Like, there's no escasez, like no hay leche, no hay.
Oh, everything's very scarce. Like there's no, like you can't find milk, toilet paper, basic necessities. So Venezuelans have had to become hoarders to make sure that they have the supplies that they need. Everything's basically in a state of turmoil. My aunt Beatriz in Venezuela, she lives in one of the towns, Merida, and she sent pictures of just everything completely shut down.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. It's very sickening to see all the images, especially of students.
Well, how is it that the country is functioning on a day-to-day basis, or is it? I mean, people have to work. People have 9-to-5 jobs like they do here. But with the recent violence, are your families able to do that? Is anybody back in Venezuela able to do that?
Right now,
yes.
Everything's shut down.
Everything's shut down.
Yeah, the whole
Okay.
country is protesting and shut down pretty much.
Are your families involved in a protest back home?
Yeah, I have my mom's best friend. Her son is a student in Maracaibo, which is one of the cities that is very, they've always been anti-Chavez. So obviously they're one of the big cities involved in the protests. And he's involved in that. So
It seems as though worldwide over the last several years there's been a huge push, especially by students, for more freedom.
right.
So I want to ask you about that, because what with you all having family back home and knowing firsthand what it's like being there, what do you say to students here who seem to think that more government intervention in their lives, this creeping government, is better for them as opposed to having freedom?
Well, definitely freedom's the most important thing. Like Venezuelan students suffer from basically not having enough security on campus, not having toilet paper in the restrooms, and their government's just completely oppressing them, and they don't have the opportunity to speak. They're not. That's basically what we're protesting, is the fact that they don't have the right to say, hey, that's not right.
Yeah, a lot of the professors, they're underpaid, so that's why students have been protesting, because there's no, I guess, they're not supporting education in the country, so it's just something very harsh, and obviously students want to become better people.
One of the things that Chavez had done before he had died was to give people here in America, certain people here in America, free heating oil during cold season. So Do you find that the government back home in Venezuela does things like that for the people? If there are shortages, because, and again, we're very limited as to what we can find out here in America. If there are shortages as such back home, but Venezuela is an oil-rich country, wouldn't one think that its economy would do well? Right. Even if it's not on good footing right now, given the violations that are happening at this time?
Well, basically that's just a reflection that the money's in the wrong hands. It's all going to a certain group of people. It's the people that, you know, the people that get a lot of money are the people that work in the oil business, and it's basically hush money. I mean, they get all this money and then they keep everyone else under this like tight blanket of like, you know, we can only give you so much, and it's a way of like making Maduro or the government look like the savior when they do get more supplies or when they do get more of anything that, you know, that they need, because there's this illusion of a shortage when that's not true. I mean, we're a country that has plenty of educated, smart individuals with plenty of resources, so there's no reason that we should be in an economic crisis at all. And the inflation is just obscene. Yeah.
Okay, one last question based on what you had just said. I made a comparison earlier to North Korea, how in North Korea, the North Korean army is well fed while the people are starving.
Right.
Obviously, that's not the situation yet in Venezuela. However, do you see that people who are close to or involved with or friendly to the government have a better status, a better have better living conditions than just regular people?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Yeah. I think that's why the army's okay with pointing its guns at its own people, you know? Yeah. Like, they're fighting against people that don't have any arms or anything. They're just speaking out, and the reason they're okay with doing that is because they get better money, they get better opportunities in Venezuela, where everything's so restricted. Yeah. You know, like if you're with the political party of Maduro, you're living the life, but most Venezuelans are totally against his beliefs and what he believes are, you know, civil rights, I guess. So, yeah, that's that.
All right, well, I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Una dictadura igualita a la cubana. Y no me da la gana. Una dictadura igualita a la cubana.
Can you tell me what the red handkerchief is for?
Well, we're wearing red handkerchiefs today. We should be having it around our mouths, but we've been chanting and trying to cheer people on. It kind of signifies that people in Venezuela have been silenced. The students have been silenced. The students have been the major force of protesting in Venezuela. So if you hear a lot of people talking about students, then that's why. The media has also been silenced, radio and television. So it's kind of to symbolize that no freedom of speech is being exercised in our country. And so we want that to come to an end. Also, the red, a lot of blood is being shed in our country, and we want that to stop.
Right, I understand another round of violence occurred this morning, that another Miss Venezuela or another beauty queen had been killed this morning. There was one who passed away yesterday, and there was a lady over here had a picture of her, was shot in the head but through the eye.
Right.
Okay. Are there outside influences in Venezuela? We had talked about this earlier, that there are outside influences in Venezuela from...
The government will never say there are. Venezuelan people know. Venezuelan people have seen stuff. CNN, Spanish, there's a reporter, and I can't remember his name right now. He went to Venezuela one time, and there was a factory, a so-called bicycle factory in Venezuela. And it had armed guards in the front. And he asked what the factory was about, and they told him it was armed guards. And he said that if he could go inside and look at it, and they denied it. They said that no, he could not. They denied him permission. They said he couldn't go in, and they told him that he needed to leave. There's other factories just like this one that they're told that these factories are just factories of just any everyday things, just like bicycles or anything else. But people know that you don't keep armed guards outside of a bicycle factory. That's not That's not something that's normal. And there's ties to Middle Eastern terrorist groups. People know that. The government will never admit to it, but we know they're there. People know they're there.
The conditions, as far as I understand it, aren't so that even though there's rationing, people aren't necessarily starving in the streets. However, because of the escalation in violence over these last several days, do you think the government is going to try to tighten down on what it does allow on the market so that people can be more submissive?
I don't know what they're going to tie down on, because when you can leave your house at 5 in the morning and there is already a line out the door in the supermarkets for people to go in and be able to get what is available in the supermarkets. We're talking about flour, we're talking about chicken, we're talking about oil, we're talking about milk, we're talking about food that is essential, that is very scarce right now. Reporters from international news were there and they confirmed it. They said that they saw lines out the door in hours of early in the morning of people waiting to go in and being able to grab anything that was available. So this food is scarce. So if the government ties down on what is available, I don't know what they would tie down on, because what the people can get is very limited and the price of the food is very expensive.
Libertad. ¿Quiénes somos? Venezuela. ¿Y qué queremos? Libertad. ¿Quiénes somos? Venezuela. ¿Y qué queremos? Libertad. ¿Quiénes somos? Venezuela. ¿Y qué queremos? Libertad. Y no me da la gana una dictadura igualita a la cubana. Y no me da la gana una dictadura igualita a la cubana.
Are you originally from Venezuela?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you still have family back home?
Of course.
Okay. How is your family doing under the current conditions?
They're not very well. They're suffering as well as the rest of the people over there.
Okay. How is it that they're living day to day? There seems to have been a new round of violence this afternoon, and
it's every day. Even if they're not killed by protest, like these people is doing right now, just the last year they killed 25,000 persons. And the previous year, 24. So, and the previous year, 23,000. So it's a lot of people that is dying just for living, because there is no other reason to kill them.
Is the government killing them because these people oppose because they oppose Maduro?
Well, right now the government, yes, is killing people. I can send you photos. You can go to Twitter and you can search for Venezuela and you will see a lot of people that is being killed just because they are protesting against the government.
Maduro is controlling a bunch of the media, so what we have here in America is very sparse. What is it that your family is telling you about what's happening right now?
They have an informative blackout. They don't know what is happening.
They don't. So
they call me to ask me what is happening.
So even your family back home doesn't know?
No.
Okay.
They are blocking Twitter. They are blocking different social networks. So the people is not informed.
I've asked a couple of people this, and I'd like to ask you. This came up with a couple of people. Venezuela is a large exporter to the U.S. of oil.
Yes.
Crude oil.
Yes. So,
in one sense, the American government, under any administration, is supporting by proxy the Venezuelan government, whether it was Chavez and now Maduro. And talking with others, the people affiliated with or friendly to the government are better taken care of than just regular people like you see out here in a protest. What are your feelings about that?
Well, that is something that I really don't know, because the government, the Venezuelan government, is always bitching and complaining about against the states, but they are still selling oil.
Right.
So it's a game. Or it's business, or they're playing a game with the people, with the poor people, because the poor people in Venezuela, they don't know what is happening. So they don't have that approach to the real news in the world. So when the government in Venezuela says, United States, we hate them, they are the imperial, blah, 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 blah. The people believe in that. But even though we are still, selling oil to states. So it's a game. It's a game to control the people in Venezuela, the poor in Venezuela.
Speaking of controlling the people in Venezuela, do you think the Venezuelan government has the support of
Cuba.
Venezuelans? What is
Cuba.
it? Cuba. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen some signs out here that there are Cuban military in Venezuela.
Do you know that Venezuela is sending 130,000 or 150,000 barrels daily, oil barrels daily to Cuba?
Really?
Yes. And that you can search that on Google and you'll find out that.
So what does Venezuela get in return for that oil?
No, Venezuela is sending that to Cuba, and
Right.
Venezuela is getting a recipe to control the people.
So Cuba's exporting communism, exporting
Yes.
that more tightened
Yes.
control of the people.
Yes,
Okay.
they are exporting the recipe to be in control forever. So the government in Venezuela, they don't care about the people. They don't care about the citizens. They just want the money. Do you know that Venezuela has the biggest reservoir oil in the world?
Okay.
They have a lot of petroleum, and that is what they want. They don't care about the people. They don't care about the solutions for the people, for the country. They just want to be in charge forever, and that is what we are paying to Cuba.
Su choza, libertad pidió, a este santo nombre tengo de favor, el libre egoísmo que otra vez